Hi there, this video is going to show you how to set up a class notebook within your class team. So this notebook is great for your students to have a private space to work on assignments, answer questions, and also for them to collaborate with others. So it's kind of a neat way to keep everything in one place for them. So to get started, I'm going to open up my team where I'd like to set up my notebook, and of course I don't have anything in here because it's a blank one, but I'm going to click on the tab up here at the top that says Class Notebook, and when you do, if you have not yet set it up, it's going to prompt you to do it. So it's going to say set up a OneNote class notebook. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and then it's going to say blank notebook or from existing. So if you currently have a notebook set up externally, you can link it here, which is really great if you've spent a lot of time building content in there. But if you're just starting fresh, you would click blank notebook. And here it's going to just kind of give you a breakdown of what the notebook includes. So it has a collaboration space where students and teachers can edit the content. So if you wanted students to kind of work together on something, the collaboration space is where you'd want it to be. Then you have the content library, which is read only, so it's kind of a nice place to put reference materials that students can go back to, and that is read only for students. And then of course there's a private space for each student, which is their very own little notebook within your notebook. And in that only the one student can edit it and only the one student can see it. So they can't see each other's stuff, which is really great. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And here is where you can customize what you want their tabs to say. So the easiest way to think of this is to pretend it is like a binder, and these are the tabs or the dividers in that binder. So what do you want them to say is really what you got to figure out. So if you want to get rid of it, you can always put that exit and get rid of it, but maybe you want a space for them to take notes during your meetings or office hours. Maybe you want to keep this homework and quizzes, or maybe you'd like to edit them and name them different units or something like that. So it's totally up to you, whatever makes sense for you in your class. You can always add more tabs or sections, and then you can also take some away with the X's. So once you have that all set up, you're going to go ahead and click create, and it's going to do its magic here and create it and push it out to all of your students' team. And so we'll give that a minute. Here we go. And ta-da, you now have a class notebook. Now, if you click on this tab, if you're not really familiar with OneNote, when it's in an online version, the tabs are over here, and when it's in the app, the tabs are on the opposite side. So, as I said earlier, you have a collaboration space, a content library, and then here you will see listed all of your students. Now, I just put my son in here for practice, but you would naturally see all of your students here, and when you click on their name, you can see the breakdown of those tabs you created for them. So let's say that I am ready to send an assignment out to students. So you would want to start by putting that in your content library. And your content library is, again, the read only. So here's where you might want to set up your assignments to push out to your students. So I'm going to go down to the very bottom, and you might not be able to see it because mine is kind of hidden down here. But I'm going to press the plus button that says add page. And when I add the page, I will title it up here. So let's just say, well, I don't know, Unit 1 worksheet, right? So you'll title it with whatever you want it to pop up as the page name. And then the really neat thing is here you can insert entire documents, and the students can draw on them or type on them and edit them, where that's much more difficult to do under assignments up here. So the easiest way that I've found to do it is to print to OneNote, or you can also go to insert. So if I want to, say you have a PNG or a JPEG of your worksheet, you could put it in that way. You can also put it in as a file. So let's say I prefer this one right here, a file printout, An attachment will just mean that the students will have to open it and they won't necessarily see it printed right on here. So I'll do the file printout for this one, and then I'll choose my file. So I'm going to find my file here. Let's see where my worksheet sample is. Here we go. And once I have that uploaded, I'm going to insert. And in just a moment, you'll see that it printed out here on the class notebook page. So here we go. Now I can also expand this if you want to take up more room on the page. You can also shrink it down a little bit. And the neat thing is it also attaches it here for you. If you think this will confuse your students, you can always remove it. And it won't impact, oops, sorry. Okay, and it won't impact the worksheet itself. Now, for your students, it will kind of look like, there we go, that's lagging a little bit. I can go to the drawing right here, and if your students have touch screen, which a lot of them do, they can use the drawing tools up here to complete the worksheet. So if you see here, they can draw. Let's do this. So I can draw either with my mouse, or I can draw if it's touchscreen with a stylus, or even my finger. So this is really neat for the students to be able to edit it much easier than it is on assignments if you have a bunch of worksheets that you really want to send out to students, but now that we're virtual, it's very difficult. Oh great, I have a oops. Okay, now you'll notice you might have to show your students that when they're done drawing and they want to go back to text, they have to click back on this. So if I need to correct this, for example, there we go. Now, if you are ready to send this out to students, you are going to go to this tab right here that says Class Notebook. And this allows you the option to distribute out to either your entire class, or it allows you the option to distribute just to individual students. So maybe you want certain students to remediate something, or they need to get some additional support in different areas and you want to send them individualized worksheets. This is a great way to differentiate for them. So I'll click distribute page, and again I can either do individual distribution, or I can do group distribution, or cross notebook if you have multiple notebooks and you want to push out to all of them. So in this case I want all my students to get to it, and so I'm going to click distribute page. And when I do that, it's going to ask me where I would like to distribute this page to. So I will select the tab under which I want this page to appear, in this case Unit 1, and then I will click distribute. And once I click that distribute button, it was going to push this out to all of my students' pages, and it doesn't take very long at all, and then my students will have access to it and they'll be able to edit it in their own little mini notebook. When you're ready to grade them, just while this is loading, you can go up here to review student work, and you can just click through all of your students one by one on just that page. So that's kind of neat. You don't have to dig into each of their notebooks individually. So as you can see, we are done. This is distributed to students. Our notebook is all set up, and that is all for today's video. Thanks.